Long ago, there was a time when McDonald's was considered the top brand in the food and beverage industry. No wonder the fast food empire spread over 40,000 restaurants all over the world. However, McDonald's profits are falling sharply in recent times, making it likely to rank among the biggest food chain failures in the US. No, hear why. For the unversed, McDonald's has more than 13,000 restaurants in the United States alone. Its annual revenue is anywhere around $23 billion a year. But when the pandemic struck the world, it ensured to create the most head-scratching failure, being a once-up-a-time top restaurant business. Blame it on the increased operational costs and supply chain problems that are resulting in higher menu prices, thus disappointing the customers to not afford their favorite burgers. During the pandemic's lockdown restrictions, people in the US started trying more online food delivery options, which also gave them exposure to different restaurants and food outlets in the US. So the cost and taste comparison became obvious for consumers, thus expecting more value at less cost. Apart from the higher menu cost issues, there is also one of the major problems that McDonald's is struggling with. Let's dig further. You'll be stunned to know that the largest fast food corporation has 95% of its restaurants run by independent owners in the US. A business of such big size and magnitude is at the moment under a downtime due to the war between the corporate and franchisees that is only getting worse year over year. Yes, you heard it right! After all, McDonald's has its own rules and demands to safeguard its brand value in the market. But the franchisee owners don't get the fact the same way. Not all fingers of one hand are the same, right? Similarly, what the corporate company is envisioning the operators to perform is not being perceived in a profitable manner. Practically, 40% of franchisees will see their years-long leases ending as the stores are not meeting the latest financial needs and achieving the right profit targets. Sadly, the franchisees may see their contracts getting cancelled if they fail to meet the mega chain standards. So here lies the crux of the problem, where the corporate and franchisees are not on the same page. In simple terms, 1 in 4 McDonald's operations will be at risk of going bankrupt because of mismatch in the expectations level between the company and its franchisees. However, if McDonald's doesn't maintain cordial relations with the franchisees and looks for expansion strategies to recuperate the losses, things won't go in their favour either. Without the support of their own people, no company could grow swiftly. Similarly, McDonald's cannot move on its growth strategies if it doesn't take the unconditional support and understanding of its franchisee owners. However, is that the case with corporate? Unfortunately, a big no! What will you do if you are a franchisee owner who is unable to sell expensive burgers to the visitors of your store when they are uninterested or it is something that doesn't fit their budget? Or if you're in the shoes of the mega chain, then what will you do if your franchisee owners are unable to live up to the reputation of the well-known brand? In either case, you will find yourself terminating the contracts, creating a hole in the famous business model because the mismatch of strategic planning and human resources lies at the grassroots level. The company is not making money, it should. It is simple as that. The company takes such extreme decisions will only impact its own business model when the majority of the operators leave the chain. Isn't it absurd for the most beloved fast food chain to lose its own support system in the midst of a crisis? There are no loyal franchisee owners and thus there is no customer loyalty. Isn't it easy to understand? When the franchisee owners signed their contracts with the company, they were assured to be key partners of the company. What happened to those tall claims? Well, it seems they are falling flat because the company has not been firm with its rules and regulations and has kept on revising the same over a period of years. Who will bear the brunt? After all, think of the franchisee owners who may not hesitate to support competitor brands in the fast food industry. This has led to a tough situation for the operators who are being held accountable for taking the risk to manage a low-margin restaurant business during the slowdown of the economy. When it comes to the economic crisis, it is a worldwide phenomenon and not just restricted to the US. But one cannot ignore the fact that the US is number 1 in 3 things. One is its largest gross domestic product in the world. The second is the most technological powerful nation. And the third is its chain of fast food businesses. So, it is quite evident that if McDonald's fails to live up to the requirements of US consumers, then it is unlikely to get an audience in the world. Consumers are also not feeling satisfied with the latest food items offered by McDonald's. The brand trying to increase the prices of the burgers is something that the consumers are not accepting wholeheartedly. After all, who will take their family to McDonald's store when they are already facing pay cuts or job losses in the economic downturn times? High menu prices and almost 15% increase in the average ticket prices have led to only less turnout in the physical stores on a monthly or regular basis. So, it is an obvious fact that customer loyalty goes for a toss when the brand is trying to cut the consumer's pockets during their own financial turbulence. Will a father take his kids to the store to treat them on weekends when he himself is jobless during the weekdays? Think about it. McDonald's should come to a realization that it takes sufficient time to build a new customer base if they don't want to engage with regular customers. The company that was founded in 1955 had customer loyalty as one of the key pillars for creating a huge empire. However, the great grand business is really ruining itself due to its own greed and unfriendly business practices. The company can simply go through the case studies of failed brands in the past and rework its model. As a matter of fact, McDonald's should look back at its own case studies of failures. In the mid-1990s, it had reportedly spent $200 million to develop and market the Arch Deluxe, which is a quarter-pound beef patty on a potato bun, topped with bacon, lettuce, tomato, cheese, onions, ketchup, along with a mustard mayonnaise sauce. Want to know what the problem was? Honestly, no one actually liked it. Franchisees found it difficult to prepare the dish because it needed new sauce, buns, and seasoning. Customers also found it to be highly expensive, and thus it was removed from the menus in 2000. It can even look at its recent plant-based burger, McPlant's failure, which was rolled out with much fanfare at the end of 2021. What led it to fail? After all, its competitor Burger King had been successfully selling plant-based burgers since 2015. Blagging on market consideration and ability to accept varied tastes. McPlant came at a time when consumers' appetite for alternative meat was at its peak. The price point of McPlant wasn't competitive either compared with traditional burgers, especially when the inflation is running hot in the US. Sadly, McPlant failed to emphasize the health and climate benefits in its attempt to go plant-based. There are new entries in the market of fast food stores, and sooner or later, McDonald's will realize how it has burned its hands with its experimentation models. Value for money is a new thing in the business world, and brands that cater to the masses only will live longer than brands that want to focus only on classes. When inflation and recession hit at the same time, brands should work towards building sustainable business models that will not just help them make money, but also leave their customers satisfied. The more lives they touch through their products and services, the more goodwill the company earns. After all, consumers remember only how their favorite brand made them feel, rather than its features, appearances, and cost effectiveness. So if entering a McDonald's store is not going to make any customer feel happy by looking at the menu card, neither with its taste nor its price, then the company's higher authorities are really living in another world filled with false notions and assumptions. Americans shouldn't be shocked if they soon get to read or hear in news headlines with regards to the demise of McDonald's, the largest fast food chain ever in the history of the US. Businesses shouldn't always think of making profits, especially when the economic conditions all over the world are volatile. Hope you like watching our video on how a business that was once a massive brand is actually damaging its prominence by opting for price rise and ending its contracts with existing franchisee strength. Do you also believe in the philosophy that greedy people never succeed in life? If you enjoyed watching the video, surely click on like and subscribe to our channel for further updates. Stay tuned for more of such latest business news where we will cover the success and failures of brands.